I'm Andy Stevenson and you're watching SevereMMA, and this is Ryan Shelley. Big fight coming up against Josh Reed next Friday. How are you feeling?
Very good. That's pretty much our camp wrapped up now. We did our last spar on Thursday and I've just been doing a little bit of pad work Friday and today, and now just get the rest of the weight down, and then we'll be over to London on Wednesday. So
yeah, before we talk about the fight, let's talk about the beard. This is new.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration?
Yeah, what started off as just a bit of a fight camp beard. It lasted about 2 or 3 weeks, and then some of the lads were like, geez, that's quite sharp, so I said I'd keep it. So I think we're about 7 or 8 weeks in now, and I'm gonna do the fight with this. I've never really had a beard before. Turns out I can grow a whopper one, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll keep it for this one.
Yeah, it's not a case where you'll have it for camp and then shave it off before the battle.
No, I'm definitely 100% gonna keep this for the fight, and then after, I don't know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So
my girlfriend she's actually liking it at the moment, so I sort of said I'd test that out, and she said she likes it, so it's all good.
So we last saw you in the cage in Belfast against Matthew Elliott. Obviously a contentious decision, but I'm sure it's one that you thought you won, right?
For sure. Like, even looking back, it's a fight that I thought I won. I know it was super close, and some guys thought he won, some guys thought I won, so it is what it is. In a way, I sort of didn't dwell on it too much, but I'm taking a lot and I'm learning loads from that fight, and I'm bringing it into my next one, so happy.
Yeah, what did you make of the decision, and I suppose the aftermath of it? Like, for you, was it contentious, or did you just thought you had enough damage?
At the end of the fight, I had known that I won, and I was like, it's probably going to be a split decision, but I definitely think I got it from a damage point of view. And I know people are saying, but you did no damage, but I landed more strikes than he did, so that's why they gave it to me. From an MMA fan looking in, and they seen him grappling me, you could see how they thought he was winning, and his wrestling was excellent. I knew that going in, but I knew if I was active off my back and landed more shots, that I'd probably get the decision, and I did. So
yeah, there seemed to be a bit of an aftermath on social media with some teammates and things like that. Like, what did you make of all that in the aftermath?
I didn't really mind it. Like, I know it stirred up a bit of drama, but like, from my point of view, there was no real drama. I know what had happened in there, and I wasn't particularly happy with how the fight went. I think from both of us, we both had a lot more to show in there. So I just said that I'm going to take these lessons and then bring them into the next fight. So here we are again.
100%. That fight, Matthew is obviously a very, very talented wrestler. He controlled a lot of the grappling action. Did you take away elements from that fight, and like, have you been working on your defensive grappling, things like that since that fight?
Absolutely. And like, a decision I made in there was to stay off my back and throw elbows. Going forward now, from now on, I'm just going to work on popping back up and just scrambling like fuck, and just try and get the finish as much as I can. I feel like sometimes I have a great gas tank, and I feel like sometimes I don't use it enough, so I just need to sort of have faith in my own skills and be like, no, pop right back up and do damage there. Had he been crushing me on top with elbows, then I probably would have been more urgent, but that wasn't really coming from him, so I said, why not?
Yeah, obviously I'm sure you were delighted to get the decision. The same night, your brother Adam obviously suffered a stoppage defeat. After a night like that, what's it like? You're obviously balancing your happy emotions, but there's some sad emotions there, I'm sure, too, off the back of Adam's loss.
Absolutely. The two of us, we always fight together. Cage Warriors put us both on the same night, and it's always a bit tricky. It can go one of two ways. Either we can both win, which is amazing, or if something like that happens, one win, one loss, it's a little bit bittersweet for me, because obviously I'm gutted for him. But me and Adam always say, when we're going into fights, it's like, I'm going to focus on myself, you focus on yourself. Whatever happens after that happens. So he's a grown man. He can deal with his losses himself. And like, that being said, he was out before me, so when he was fighting and I was warming up out the back and trying not to look, but I'm glancing at the screen too, and when I didn't see it go his way, I was like, that's a bit of shit. But again, I just pushed it to the side, and it's like, right, I have my own fight to focus on, so that's why we're here.
Yeah, I suppose you have to kind of compartmentalize before the fight. let's say you're around, the dinner table with your family then, like the next week or something like that. Like, what, like, do you have a moment where you come together and kind of discuss it, or what's it like?
Yeah, for sure. Like, he's always his own worst critic. I think I am a bit like that myself. But the week after the fight, he was fine. Like, he was bouncing around and we were chatting about it, and he had like a list of things the length of his arm that he was like, I want to fix this and this. So again, I don't think the fight didn't go his way, but I don't think he needed to fix too many things. Just one or two things that wasn't exactly firing for him, but I think he has them boxed off for this fight, and I'm looking forward to see him in action as well.
Yeah, and he's been off firefighting since then as well. So, but obviously the two of you guys have your own gym, a kickboxing gym, but it's only been a couple of months since June. But what have you been up to outside of the cage since then? Any crack?
I've just been I went on a holiday over the summer, and then I just got right back to things. I always see it as in between fights is a great time to actually get better. So during fight camps, I don't feel like I work on too many things. You just get sharper with what you have. But in between fights, I'm a little gym rat anyway. Chris was saying to me after the fight, he was like, right, take a week off, and then it's like after 3 or 4 days, I'm like, sort of want to come down, So I think I gave it 5 days before I came down, and I've just been working on my jiu-jitsu a bit more, working on a few little crafty things. So they might show in this fight, they might not, depending on how it goes. But just been chilling out, enjoying training, and then it was sort of come September, I was right back into fight camp then. So
yeah, you have a fantastic matchup on your hands here against Josh Reed, a guy who's challenged for the bantamweight title in Cage Warriors a number of times, and now is moving up to 145. Josh is a guy who he was in that famous war with Nathaniel Wood, but he's also, I think he has 10 finishes, 7 subs, so he's well rounded. What are you expecting going into this?
Josh he's definitely the most experienced opponent I've ever fought, so I have to be aware of that coming in. He's sort of, in terms of styles wise, he's probably seen almost all the styles in there, so I know he's going to be crafty in there and he's going to be ready for a fight. I'm expecting him to probably start fast and start hard, so that's something that I need to be aware of and be ready for. But I think just on paper it's just a great matchup. He's a banger. I like to fight on the feet. If it hits the deck, I think you'll see some great scrambles on the feet, and it's definitely got a finish written on it, that's for sure. Yeah,
what was your initial reaction like when a name like Josh Reed, kind of gets sent across the table for you to sign to?
For sure, I said absolutely. Chris went, I think that's a great fight for you, and I said absolutely, because of who it is. It's another challenge, it's another step up, and that's what I want. Each fight on my Cage Warriors contract, I want the next one I want a little bit harder, the next one a little bit harder, the next one a little bit harder, and to prove if I'm ready to move on to the next level. So we're going to find out next week. So
yeah, if you were to give a prediction, how do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. You know me, I never like predicting fights too much. I always see them going loads.
But we just ask. Everyone always says I don't like giving predictions, and we're like, well, I'm going to ask you anyway.
I'm going with a stoppage on the feet in the 3rd round.
Wow, specific. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a few ways I see it going, and that's the way I see it going.
So you're saying 3rd round? How do you see the first 2 rounds playing out?
First one could be a little bit close, back and forth, me pulling away in the 2nd and then taking over in the 3rd.
Yeah, it's a fantastic card overall. I'm surprised that this one isn't in Ireland, to be honest. Do you think that they should have, given the number of Irish fighters on this card, should this have been in Ireland?
It would have been nice. It would have been nice for sure. But at the same time, I wouldn't pass up on the chance to go to London. I love London, so it's going to be great fighting at the Indigo at the O2. So, and like you said, the amount of fights are at it, it's unbelievable. So after my fight, I'm definitely going to stay around to see how that main event plays out.
Yeah, obviously a Friday night fight card. So do you have a nice weekend in London planned out for afterwards?
I think I'm straight back to Dublin Saturday morning. Yeah. I don't.
That's very boring.
I know. If I had planned things better, I should have stayed the weekend. But I think I'm back Saturday. So
yeah, and your teammate James Webb has a fight with Paddy McCurry in the card. This is one that kind of came out of nowhere. It feels like for me. What do you think about that matchup?
That's a great matchup. Also, I think James was scheduled to fight a French guy, as far as I'm aware, and he pulled out. And we all know Paddy stepped up. That just goes to show you the type of person that Paddy is. He's game, he's up for anything. So I think that's going to be a great fight as well. It's very much like Paddy's early on in his pro career, and James is sort of like the veteran at this stage. So it's going to be an interesting clash of styles, and I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, what can we expect to see from your brother Adam?
I just think a bit looser, and I think in the last fight he had a few things going on, but he's way smoother now, and he's thinking clearly, and I think you're going to see him just get back to his basics, get back to his taekwondo roots a little bit more, and I also see him getting the finish. So
I'll ask for another opinion. So a huge featherweight clash at the top of the card, Paul Hughes versus Jordan Vucenic, the rematch for the title, unification bout. Who do you see winning that one?
I have to go with Paul there. It's a good fight. It's a really good fight. I like both lads, and I think their styles are brilliant. But I see it going late too. I see it going into the championship rounds, and I see Paul getting a stoppage late.
It's a bold prediction as well.
I think so, yeah.
It's interesting that it's 5 rounds over 3. Like it adds that extra dimension to it.
Very interesting. I think like both lads are super fit, and realistically, I was talking to someone about this earlier on during the week. You could put both lads into the UFC and they do well into that featherweight division. So it's a very interesting fight to see. It's a really high level one. But yeah, I see Paul getting the win. Yeah,
I'll be absolutely shocked if the winner doesn't get signed to the UFC. You spoke to Edith LaBelle after your last fight. I think you wanted September, and you were hoping to get 5 fights kind of going. Is it likely that we'll see you again before the end of this year?
Yeah, so my plan at the start of this year was ideally 5, if not 4. I've had 2 so far. Could be looking at just 3. I never look too far ahead. I'm only, like right now, I'm focused on the opponent I have in front of me. If I'm not too marked up after, or if I'm not, if I'm injury free, please God, we could see about going again at the end of the year. But we'll see what happens. That New Year's card, I don't know. I think at this stage I'd be ready to hold off until the new year. I'm not in any rush, and right now just my pure focus is on fighting Josh next weekend, and we'll see what happens next year.
You spoke about also getting your name into that title contention, in the mix in that 145 division. Obviously, Josh is coming up from bantamweight, but to get a win over a very, very, a veteran, savvy, game opponent who has a very strong reputation within the Cage Warriors, what do you think that does for you? Do you think that pushes you towards that upper echelon?
I think definitely it puts me close. I'm still there's probably a few people ahead of me. Like I know Charrier re-signed, Harilla re-signed and stuff. So there's still a few people knocking around that I think I have to fight first before I get there. But I think with a win here, that puts me in a good position for next year, and then maybe 1 or 2, and then we're talking about the title then. But again, just take each fight as it comes. The win, everything else will look after itselse.
Yeah, I'll do the usual thing where you say let's take each fight as it comes, and then I'll ask you a completely opposite question.
That's okay.
But all eyes are on Josh Reed for now. When you're talking about guys like Harilla, like Charrier, is there anyone else in the division that stands out to you that says that would be a really fun matchup for me?
The 2 lads are definitely really good matchups for me. I know there's Harry Hardwick and Steve Aimable fighting. They're on the same night as me. Again, 2 top lads. There's Manny Akpan who's fighting the week or 2 after. So I don't think, we're not short of matchups anyway. There's a good few lads floating around my level, or even ahead of me. So definitely, I think going into next year, there'll be a few exciting matchups there for sure.
That'll be a battle of the spinning kicks between you and Manny Akpan.
Yeah. That one's been talked about before. We're just been fighting other people, but I definitely think next year that's a fight that's going to happen for sure. Yeah,
well, I can't wait for this Friday. So many Irish fighters on this card. Yeah. Ryan is fighting Josh Reed, an absolutely fantastic matchup, one of the best in the card. This Friday, tune in on UFC Fight Pass, Cage Warriors 145, and check him out.